So the second part of today's lesson is highest common factor. So the highest common factor, and I forgot to write it here, you will also see it as HCF, okay? So the highest common factor between two or more numbers is that exactly. It's going to be the highest common factor. So you find the factors of each number individually, and then you're going to find which one is the highest that is common to both numbers. So let's do an example because that's going to make more clear things. Okay, something that is very important is that I'm modeling exactly the way that you should be working out this. I don't want anyone saying, oh, I do it in my head, because this is when we get into trouble. So this is what I want to be written in your book and also in your test, okay? And the way that you're going to be doing your questions for your homework, okay? So it says, find the common factors of 8 and 24. So we're going to start with 8. Okay, so you do this, 8. And then you say, okay, I'm going to write 8. Now, with which number, with whole number, we always start with 1. Agree? So 1 times 8 is going to be equal to 8. So then I have a pair. Then going to the next whole number, 2. And I know that 2 times 4 is going to be 8. Now I go into the next one, 3. Can I divide 8 by 3? No, I can't. Okay, and then the next one is 4. That means that I have finished. Agree? I have all my pairs here. Okay, so we're going to list them. So how do we list the factor? We go 1, 2, 4, and 8. Wonderful. Now we're going to go into 24 and we're going to do exactly the same. 24. So I'm going to write here 24. So the first one, whole number that we always start with, so it's going to be 1 times 24. Wonderful. The second one is going to be 2. And I know that 24 is even, therefore I can divide 24 by 2, and I know that is going to be 12. Wonderful. Then the next one is going to be 3. So I add 2 plus 4 is 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. So I know that 24 can be divided by 3. And I can go here and check, okay, where is it? Okay, fantastic, it's 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Okay, wonderful, so 8. Then the next one is going to be 4. So let's go here and check 4. 4, 24, wonderful, 6. The next one is 5. I know that 5 is not going to be a factor. Why? Because it doesn't end on 0 or a 5. But I can still check here. And yes, effectively, when I go here in the columns, I can see the jumps from 20 to 25. So there is no 24 in here. So there is no 5. Because it's not that 5, the next one will be 6. But the 6, I already have it here. So I have completed my U-turn. Because I have checked all the possible whole numbers. And then I'm going to list them. So I'm going to say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Okay, so I have listed them all. That's the first thing that we have to do. In this question is saying that, it says list the factors. So we have done that, list the factors of 24. This one has a interesting question, a part to answer that I won't recommend that you do it, but that's okay. It says list the factors common to both. So now we're going to select the ones that are common to both. So 1 is common to both, 2 is common to both, 3 is not common to both, 4 is common to both, 8 is common to both, and that's it, because I don't have anything else. So there I have all the common ones to both. Listing the factors common to both, because it says listing, your answer in your book should be, okay, there are 1, 2, 4, and 8. Wonderful. State the highest common factor. So from the ones that we have found that are common, which one is the highest? So the highest common factor is 8. Agree? So we state that the highest common factor is equal to 8. And that's our answer. Okay? Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to do another example here that I'm going to make up. So this example is going to say, okay, I want to find the highest common factor of the following numbers. So I'm going to 21, 35, and 42. So now I have three numbers, okay? So we're going to use the same method. I'm going to bring my multiplication grid so that we can use it while we're doing our exercises here. Good, I have you here. So how do we start this? So we start by saying, okay, I'm going to start with 21, okay? So when I do 21, so I do 1 times 21. That's the first pair. Now, 2, is it going to be? No, because it's not even, so it's not going to be 3. 2 times 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3 is divisible by 3, so I know that 3 is going to be a factor, so I'm going to look in the 3's. So 3, boom, 21 times, so it's going to be 7. So 3 times 7 is equal to 21. Wonderful. Now 4, let's check. 4 jumps from 16 to 20 to 24. No. 5, it doesn't end on a 5 on a 0, so not 6. Let's look at the 6. So I'm looking at the columns now, this time 18 and 24. Why am I looking at the columns? Some people might be asking because I don't have the number written here. And remember that these numbers are the same one as these ones here. So I'm going to look at the column here and I say, okay, it doesn't jump. It goes from 18 to 24. So no, it's not going to be a common. And I have finished my U-turn because then I have the 7. So that means that I have checked all my whole numbers. So I'm going to list the factors here. So 1, 3, 7, and 21. Those are the ones that are common to 21. Wonderful. Now let's look at 35. So 35 is going to be, we start with 1 and 35. Then 2 is not even, so it's not going to be a factor. Then 3 plus 5, 8. 8 is not divisible by 3, so it's not 3 is not going to be a factor. 4, let's look at 4. So let's go at 4. It jumps from 32 to 36, so no. 5 is going to be because it's finishing 5, so 5 is going to be a factor. 5 times what? 5 times 7 is 35. Wonderful. Now 6, let's check on 6. So 6 goes from 30 to 36, so no, it's not. So that's it. I have finished with 35. I have finished my U-turn, so I'm going to list my factors here. So it's going to be 1, 5, 7, and 35. Wonderful. Now let's do 42. So 42. First whole number that I have to check is 1, which is always a factor. 1 times 42. Wonderful. Because it finished in 42. In 2, it's even, so I know that I can divide it by 2, and this is equal to 21. Then 3. Let's look. 4 plus 2 is 6, so I know that is going to be divisible by 3. If I go here and say, 36, I can't keep on going. So there are two things that you can do here. I'm going to model both. One, if you're not feel very comfortable dividing, you can go and say, okay, 36, I'm going to add another 3, it's going to be 39, and then another 3 is going to be 42, and I have finished. So that means that this one is 13, and this one is going to be 14. So 14 times 3 is equal to 42. So I just completed this row here, adding 3's with my multiplication grid, okay? So then I found that one that is going to be 3 and 14. That's one way of doing it. The other way is doing just division as you learned in primary school. So you do 42 divided by 3, and you say 3 into 4 goes once, and then remainder 1, and then 3 into 12 4 times, and that's how you get that this is going to be 14. You do whatever is more comfortable for you. Then we're going to check 4. If it's 4 is a factor, so we're going to go and check here. 4, I'm looking at the arrow, goes from 40 to 44, so no, it's not a factor. Okay, what about 5? It doesn't end on 5 on 0, so no. Let's look at 6. So I'm in 6, perfect. 6 times 7 is 42. So I go here and I say, okay, 6 times 7. And the next number that I have to check is 7. So that means that I have checked all my whole numbers, so I have finished my U-turn. So list your factors. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 14, 21, 42. A lot of factors here. So which one is the highest common factor that is common to the three numbers? Because I'm looking for the common that is common to the three numbers. Notice that if I only had 21 and 42, the highest common factor will be 21 because I have 21 here and 21 here. But there is no 21 here. So that's not the highest common factor. So which one is the highest common factor that is common to both? So 21 is not. Which one is here? I have a 7. Wonderful. This 7 also have a 7 and this one also have a 7. There you go. That's my highest common factor that is common to both. And how do I state what is the highest common factor? So you just write here and say, therefore, remember that these three dots means therefore, highest common factor is equal to 7. And that's your answer. Wonderful, girls. I hope you find this useful. Now you can go and do your questions.